Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Emily Hiles, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Michael Baruch. This evening, we are honoured to acknowledge Chief of Staff of the Indonesian Air Force, Kasau Marsekal Muhammad Tonny Harjono, accompanied by Air Marshal Stephen Chappell, Chief of Air Force, and their senior leadership delegations. We're also honoured to acknowledge Major General Stéphane Boivin, Canadian Army, accompanied by Major General Chris Smith, Deputy Chief of Army. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Park Orchards Primary School, Park Orchards, Victoria. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament. Flowers of the forest, wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Ivan Colin Bone. Ivan Bone was born on the 26th of September 1915 at Swan Hill, a city in the northwest of Victoria on the south bank of the Murray River. The son of Annie and Henry Bone, after his schooling, Ivan worked as a grocer's assistant. Ivan Bone enlisted in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 4th of June 1940. After a period of training in September, he transferred to the 2nd 22nd Battalion. However, he did not join his new unit until after January 1941, after the battalion had moved to Bonegilla on the New South Wales-Victoria border. At the end of December, Private Bone was found absent without leave. He was given extra duty and forfeited 2 days of pay as punishment. The 2nd 22nd continued training until it left for Sydney, ultimately bound for New Britain in mid-April 1941. On the 18th of April 1941, Bone and his comrades embarked from Sydney, arriving in Rabaul just over a week later. Here, the 2nd 22nd Battalion, combined with the local unit of the New Guinea Volunteer Rifles, and also with the Coastal Defence Battery and Anti-Aircraft Battery, elements of the 2nd 10th Field Ambulance, and the 17th Anti-Tank Battery to form Lark Force. Its role was to protect nearby airfields and the seaplanes base at Rabaul, and to provide early warning of Japanese movements through the islands to Australia's north. Despite being ill-equipped, the men spent the following months constructing defences and training for operation in a tropical environment. Japanese bombing of the New Britain began in early January 1942, increasing in intensity as the month continued. By the morning of the 22nd of January, number 24 Squadron was virtually destroyed and its 3 remaining aircraft were withdrawn. There was now no use for the airstrips, so they were destroyed. Lark Force withdrew from Rabaul, waiting on the western shores of the Blanche Bay for the inevitable Japanese landings. These began after midnight. By 9 a.m., communication failures and overwhelming Japanese strength had destroyed the cohesion of the Australian defence. It is estimated that against the original garrison of 1,400, the Japanese landed 17,000 men in the immediate vicinity of Rabaul. Lark Force Commander Colonel John Scanlon ordered a withdrawal on the basis of every man for himself. Unprepared for retreat, chaos ensued, and Lark Force disintegrated. Over the following days, groups of men, ranging from company strength to pairs and individuals, sought to escape along the New Britain's north and south coasts. Some found small boats, while others picked up larger vessels operating from New Guinea. Around 400 members of Lark Force managed to return to Australia, 300 of whom were members of the 2nd 22nd. About 160 Australians captured by the Japanese while trying to escape were massacred at Toll Plantation, and another 836 were interned as prisoners of war. Private Bone was listed as missing on the 25th of January 1942, and no further word was heard from him later. He was declared as being believed to have died of dynasty on or before the 31st of March 1942. With no known grave, today he is commemorated at the Rabaul Memorial alongside 1,200 members of the Australian Army, the New Guinea and Papuan local forces and constabulary, and the Royal Australian Air Force, all of whom have no known grave. The Bone family suffered greatly during the war. Ivan's brother, Donald, also enlisted in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force. He served in the 6th Division headquarters until the German invasion of Greece and was presumed dead on the 18th of April, 1941. Ivan Bone's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Ivan Colin Bone, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, volunteers and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.